Welcome back to the MrShowTym podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to weigh in on Dr.Phil's episode with special guest Rollo Tomassi discussing the state of masculinity and the whole Andrew Tate fiasco. It finally got released.
On an all-new Dr.Phil. Who here has heard of Andrew Tate, the demise of guys?
This new think idea that men and women are the same is complete garbage that's been invented, right?
Are you an Andrew Tate adherent? He describes it as sexual encounter, slap, grab, choke. It's how it should be.
Well, if it's consensual, it's all good.
Again, to the point where I've got to come on the Dr.Phil show and be an apologist for Andrew Tate, which I am not going to do.
Let's do it. Oh, okay. Some of the women here, I think, might disagree with that a little bit. Moms out there, if you have a son, I bet you have no idea what is happening out there, so you might want to pull up a chair and listen. Our first guest, 24-year-old Ben, says when he was a teen, he had zero self-esteem, never got past the first date, and felt powerless with girls. But he says men like Andrew Tate inspired him to break out of his shell. Wow. So you understand women?
Yeah.
How do you understand women so well?
Oh, just life experience. I've put myself out there a lot and had my fair share of learning. I've read a lot and experienced a lot of different perspectives and did my best to pull them all together.
You're a sexual energy coach.
Yes.
Help me with that. What is a sexual energy coach?
So I help men with their mindsets, getting in touch with their masculinity, figuring out their goals and what sorts of action steps they can take to make those goals real when it comes to dating and relationships.
But you don't have a girlfriend?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay. So you're telling other people how to get girlfriends and you don't have one?
Well, I teach them how to get in touch with their masculinity.
Okay. Oh, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So your book and the things that you espouse predated Andrew Tate.
No, by about 10 years. All I do is present facts. And what happens is particularly now, and I've been doing this for about 20 years, you will see a lot of come-ups right now who want to take it and run with it on TikTok. They want to take it and run with it on Instagram. We live in the social media age. And a lot of the work that I've done really for about 20 years right now gets distorted quite a bit. And I think we're at that point right now where things are getting distorted. And again, to the point where I've got to come on the Dr.Phil show and be an apologist for Andrew Tate, which I am not going to do.
I say the greatest problem with men is men are purposeless and sedated by pornography, online video games, alcohol, or marijuana.
Yes.
Let me start with you. You've been listening so far. What do you have to add to the conversation before I ask you any specific questions?
Anytime a man tries to interpret a woman, it's embarrassing. And anytime we try to interpret a man, it's embarrassing. Like, we need to stay in our lane a little bit more. When I hear a man telling me what I want as a woman, there's just some misconceptions being thrown about as though the generalities are true. And we're missing a huge component of relationships that's a really important one, and that's intimacy. We're talking all about prestige, and relationships have two components at their very base: intimacy and prestige. And every relationship at its core is a mix of the two. Even take the super old rich guy and the super young hot girl, there is a component of intimacy to their relationship that works for them. In addition to the prestige that comes with his success and his monetary gain and her beautiful body and her youth. And so I feel like we're missing it and we're doing a disservice to both genders. And the other thing is, it always feels like a gender battle. Like, it's always men versus women. And even at home, I cannot talk about this with my own husband. I cannot talk about men's rights with him. I want to kill him in about 30 seconds. And I'm like, I'm on your team. Like, I represent dudes and I hate you. And I'm never extreme enough for him. And he likes to spew facts at me. Like, men are always guilty when the police come. I'm like, what? Who? Have you been arrested? Last time I checked, you've never even been investigated. What do you mean this always happens? He's like, you know it's true. It's a fact. I'm like, oh my God, it's a fact again. And I do know it's true. I actually watch my poor male clients get arrested for ridiculous stuff all day. I can give you 100 case studies that would break your heart. But when he says that, I want to deck him. And why? Why does it have to be that way? Why can't I just calm down and listen and not be in competition? And I can't. I fail, at least at home. I'll try to do better for you, doctor.
Thank you.
Andrew Tate fiasco. It finally got released a few days ago. And of course, Rollo Tomassi was on point. And I'm glad he had them pegged. he noticed that, there's going to be some shenanigans going, because obviously Dr.Phil is an Agent Smith of the Matrix, right? Or should I call him Dr. Feels, right? As in feelings, catering to NPC's feelings. Now, again, I watched this particular episode and I couldn't help but notice there was a guy that this 24-year-old guy, I think his name is Ben. He's 24 years of age. Now, notice they play the guy in the beginning of in the opening segment. Now, Ben over here, he posed as a guy who is pro-masculinity, and I teach guys how to master their sexual energy. What on earth does that mean? Teaching guys how to master their sexual energy. See, ladies and gentlemen, what happened here is Dr.Phil handpicked an Agent Smith, to pose as someone who is one of us, a pro-Redpill, pro-masculinity young boy who is a supposed Andrew Tate fan. Now, this little young boy, the way he talked, his voice is high-pitched, he didn't sound sure of himself, and he is he came across as an incel and a loser. And again, he posed as someone who is like supposedly one of us, to smear the Redpill Manosphere in a bad light. There's a part where Dr.Phil asked him, "Oh, so what do you do? Do you have a girlfriend?" And he was like, "Oh, well, no, I'm single and sexless." And he came across as what Rollo Tomassi refers as a spurred pill. Some of these guys that are weird, socially weird, who's suffering from Asperger's syndrome, something like that. And I said to myself, "Oh, okay. Shots fired, Dr. Phil. Shots fired. Handpicking a loser to pose as one of us to make us look bad." I immediately clocked onto that. And they made it a point to play him in the first segment earlier on, to sort of like marinate the perception of what Rollo Tomassi stood for. He was sort of like setting Rollo Tomassi up. And Rollo Tomassi held frame. He handled himself quite well. Now, they were throwing a couple of questions in his direction. They also brought on certain guests. This one guy this one gentleman who's he's also around his 50s, psychiatrist, some sort of therapist, whatever. And his wife, who's obviously she's the one that wears the pants in that particular relationship. She was insinuating that she is pro-masculine. She is a voice for men, but not in the men that. Sorry, she's a voice for men, but not in the manner that Rollo Tomassi stands for. So in other words, these people try to infiltrate the Red Pill. And they were posing as they were for us. They stood for our plights. But they were framing us. They were going about it as, we are for men's rights. But the way you Manosphere guys are going is a little too extreme. You need to soften it up. Let us show you how we stand up for men. Here's how we stand up for masculinity. Here's how we, express the concerns and and plights of men and masculinity. And the way you guys are doing it, Manosphere guys, you are a little bit too extreme. That type of framing, again, very slick. And Rollo Tomassi caught on to that, and he held frame. And I'm very proud of how he handled himself. And that other guy, that other gentleman, he's talking about, there was a part where they said, what about women's rights? But just because a woman is biologically born to bear children, right? It doesn't mean that's their destiny. And I heard that stuff. I was like,
This way tells us what a horrible mess we've got ourselves into. It is quite true that we don't have a positive vision of masculinity that we're passing on, but it has to be one that is compatible with equality between men and women. We need a positive script that we can give to our boys, and I've tried to raise my sons this way, but not one that in any way makes women seem lesser. We don't have to make women seem less for men to be more. And that's right. And some of what you say has some real truth to it. There are some biological differences between us, but they're not determinative. They don't determine your role. You say the biological role. Women are designed to bear children. Well, duh. I think most women know that they bear children, but that doesn't mean that that's their destiny. That's an idea we left behind in the 19th century. And so we've got to find a way to have a really positive script for our boys that is different to femininity. I agree with that. There are differences. But it's got to be one that's fit for the 21st century. And I got to tell you, that means one that absolutely looks women in the eye as our absolute equals. Even if we're different in some important ways, we are absolutely equal. Our relationships have to be built on that equality. So let's get on with the task of a positive script for masculinity that is not anti-women.
oh no! I said, oh my chest. So just because women are biologically built to bear children, it's in their whole biology, it doesn't mean that that's their destiny? Are you kidding? So just because a lion is a predator, has fangs and tiger claws or whatever, just because it hunts deer, i.e. prey, for its own survival, to continue and maintain the balance of the ecosystem, it doesn't mean that that's their destiny. I said to myself, oh wow, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in trouble. These apps are trying to reshape and remold basic logic and reality. It's feels before reels. But anyway, that's my little short take from wow. That was quite a display. But anyway, I'm proud of Rollo Tomassi for maintaining frame, and he did the Redpill Manosphere well. He went out there to the Matrix and he fought for the Redpill Manosphere quite well. And I'm not even going to talk about the other guy who was instrumental in taking down Andrew Tate. I'm not even going to go into him. But overall, I'm proud of Sensei Tomassi, right? He won. Rollo Tomassi came out victorious. No matter how hard Dr.Phil tried to frame it a certain way. Sensei Tomassi, if you're watching this, I'm very proud of you. You did the Manosphere, you defended the Manosphere quite well. I'm gonna give Rollo Tomassi a level up, a Super Mario power up, like Mushroom, because I used to rank him as level 2, a disseminator of information. Now he's already proved that he's a ringer. Rollo Tomassi gets the ringers icon, the ringers ranking. I did a particular video on that, discussing those 3 elements of being a Redpill Manosphere content creator. Rollo Tomassi is now a ringer. He's proven himself to be able to debate. And he did the Manosphere good. defended us quite well. Yeah, so that's all I have to say for now, ladies and gentlemen. That was quite a display. That was quite shocking from, the type of questions, the type of society that they're trying to reframe reality as. Like, yo. But we're not out of the woods yet. The manosphere is still sadly in the gutters. And, yeah. Thanks for, if you're watching this for now, thanks for watching, and salute to Rollo Tomassi, right? Sure.